Alright, so this is the receiving room. Back when this was actually a jail, they would have taken the prisoners through this door, the front door here, through this door right here, into the, this was the jailer's office here. So they just would have been checked in, registered, and then sent straight upstairs to the jail cells. And so this room, we've turned it into a little bit of the old sheriff's room. So we have lots of pictures of the past sheriffs that we've had here in San Jacinto County. And then, of course, some artifacts that we've actually found on the grounds as well there in metal detections. So this room originally would have been the kitchen area. The jailer and his whole family would have lived here during the time that he worked here. And the jailer's wife would have done all the cooking for the inmates and her family as well. So this room houses right now old county courthouse records from different things, from paying taxes and buying things for businesses around San Jacinto County. And this room, I feel, is pretty active, especially during haunted jail. We turned this place into a haunt during Halloween. And this room was always kind of spooky for me to go into whenever it's really dark. I get a real dark feeling in here. So this room would have been one of the jailer's family's rooms. We have this room next to us, we've made into a bedroom. So this room would have been like the children's room. And currently we have different dolls and different just play toys from back in the 1800, early 1900 era. And also school books too that they would have used during that time. So this room, like I said, would have been probably the kids' room. Simply because it has less windows than this one does, plus the jailer probably wouldn't be able to look out to see what was going on outside of the jail. And so this room is, I would say, more comforting. These two, or it's definitely a lighter feeling in these two rooms. I think simply because it was a family, that would live here instead of more negative energy that would have been here. So again, this is one of the jailer's family's rooms. We turned this one into the adult bedroom, I guess you would say. Nothing in here is original to the jail. Most of the things are all donated or given to us by members of the community. And it's always really fun to turn this one into the haunted baby room whenever we have our haunted jail during October. And we have demon babies and things that we put everywhere. And so, but again, this room, I like it better. I think maybe because it's brighter and it just feels less oppressive in this room for sure. So this room originally would have been the jailer's office. Again, they would have brought the prisoners through the front door here and to this door, checked in, and then go upstairs. And right now, of course, we have it turned into a kitchen area. Things just fit better for us that way. But several years ago, I was waiting for the fire extinguisher inspector to come and check all our fire extinguishers, and I was waiting in the receiving room, and I thought I heard the door open, so I walked in here to see if maybe he had come in. I didn't notice, and the door was definitely open, but nobody was there. So I shut it back and figured, okay, it's just the wind or whatever. I didn't shut the door, all the way. And I'm standing here, and the ceiling fan's not going. It was a cold, misty day. I have a jacket on, and I get the very strong smell of cigarette smoke. I mean, as if someone's standing right next to me and smoking a cigarette while we're having a conversation, And I myself don't smoke cigarettes, and I smelled my clothes just to make sure that it wasn't something that I had come into contact with earlier, and it was just, releasing or whatever, and that was not the case. I even opened the door to make sure the guy wasn't outside, because I know he does smoke cigarettes, the fire extinguisher inspector. And he wasn't here either, so I shut the door and I sat down and just kind of smiled to myself because I knew that something was going on, but definitely wasn't a person here. So this is the solitary cell, and this area here, going past this area, I don't like going any further back or even next door to us as well. There's a very ominous feeling. It feels almost like a blackness creeping in on you, so definitely scary up here. Alright.
This is solitary, this is where she's talking about. Here's the creepy old inmate.
Yes. So these two cells here, they would have been for housing inmates that were going to be transferred to TDC up in Huntsville or wherever else they were to go after that. But that's what transfer cell, and also anyone that was mentally unstable, that kind of thing, they would have put them here too. There is a toilet and sink in the back, and of course they would be shut off from everybody else, so they could at least open up the 2 cell doors inside and walk freely within the confines of this bigger part, I guess. Right now we do have a spooky criminal here, and then we have there are 2 cells here. They're for storage right now. And again, it's pretty spooky just going back in this part, just knowing what would have been here back when this was an operational jail. But we have a lot of things in that I probably should be going through, but it's too scary to go back there. And
Peek in here. I'm going to step in here while she's kind of looking around over there. So here's cell number 1. Another cell over here. How many people would they have put to a cell?
Well, I mean, as you can see, at the most, and there were actually bunks in here. Some of them still had little tabs on those sides of the wall. So it looked like 2 bunks, so normally 2 people. But on in the 70s, wild, crazy Saturday nights, when our infamous Humphrey Parker, the sheriff at that time, was doing his thing, it probably would have had 8 to 10 per cell, however many they could shove in there until the morning and let all the drunks out or whatever. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, and you can imagine how loud it is just with us in here, and how loud it would be with that many people in each cell. And then behind us, we've got the trap door.
Let me switch places with you.
So we'll go over here, so the trap door. So of course, there's a big metal plate that's covering up, so for safety measures, of course, and the square here, that indicates where the actual door is. And then above us, we still have the news ring that they would have used. So for a long time, we didn't have any evidence that it was actually used to hang anybody, because it was installed in about, I think, 1916 or 17, and then 1926, I think, is when Texas outlawed public hangings, or just execution by hanging, I guess. And so we didn't have any evidence, but just recently we have at least 2 articles that tell about, and then behind us, we've got the trap door.
Let me switch places with you.
So we'll go over here, so the trap door. So of course, there's a big metal plate that's covering up, so for safety measures, of course, and the square here, that indicates where the actual door is. And then above us, we still have the news ring that they would have used. So for a long time, we didn't have any evidence that it was actually used to hang anybody, because it was installed in about, I think, 1916 or 17, and then 1926, I think, is when Texas outlawed public hangings, or just execution by hanging, I guess. And so we didn't have any evidence, but just recently we have at least 2 articles that tell about someone actually getting hung in this jail.
What were some of the things you would have got hung for, do you know?
Definitely for livestock theft or horse theft, cow theft, sheep, cow, or pigs, anything else. I mean, definitely horse. We actually have a letter from a guy who killed himself because he stole his friend's horse and he couldn't deal with the emotions that brought on, that he had wronged his friend like that, and so he killed himself. So we do have his suicide letter.
Alright, so we're at the old post office, and Rebecca's going to talk about some of the history at the old post office here.
Yes, so this post office was in the Camilla area, which is not too far from here. It's we actually have a dam on Lake Livingston that's on the Trinity River that created Lake Livingston, and that's where this post office was originally. And it was used all the way up to the 1950s, and there was a female postmaster that worked here from, I think the 30s until, it closed down. So then we had a member of the Historic Commission purchased it and moved it over here whenever this grounds became the Old Town Museum grounds.
So this is the old schoolhouse. Rebecca's going to take us inside and talk about the history inside the old schoolhouse.
Okay, I actually, I guess we can start here because this is what the first school was named after or whatever. So, okay, so India Grace, she was the first school teacher here in San Jacinto County whenever it became a county. And actually the school, or I guess the high school, what became the high school was named India Grace High School. My father-in-law actually went to high school here when it was called that, so we have a yearbook from them, so it's pretty cool. So this, we believe this building is what they call a Rosenwald school. So Rosenwald and the guy who had, Sears Roebuck, Sears, that guy, back in those days, they got together and created basically little kits you could buy from Sears magazine and make a schoolhouse out of. So that way everybody in the rural areas would have access to education. And so this one is a pretty big one. Normally it's a one-room school. You might have a little teacher office to the side. This would have been one of the classrooms. And actually, so there's a petition in the middle, so it would have been 2 classrooms. You could just, close the petition in the middle and have 2 classrooms. And then in the front there's also what you would call the lunchroom and then a coat room. And so, like I said, for the size of this, I mean, it's abnormal to have a Rosenwald school this big. All right, so this train depot was in an area called Urbana, which is going to be south of where we are, close to Shepherd, maybe getting a little bit close to Liberty County. And we really think that it was probably a water stop more than anything, but there is what I would consider a ticket booth here, so I'm assuming you could probably buy a ticket of some sort as well.